What is up, Dallas Cowboys Nation? It's your old buddy IndyCarTim here with the Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz. Good morning to you. Happy Friday. It is the day after. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, however you celebrate. Glad you're spending a little bit of your time with me this morning. If you're watching live, make sure you hit that like button like it owes you money. Subscribe. Drop where you're watching from in the chat down below. And yes, we are recapping a Cowboys win on Christmas Day. That's a gift. Even if it came with some question marks in the second half, it's still a gift, and we will take it. I will take it. You will take it. Lots of things here to unpack, though, as the Cowboys down the Commandos 30-23 in a Week 17 win. Man, it is late season football. The standings are what they are, but I'll tell you this. Winning on Christmas just feels different, especially against a division rival. We talked about it yesterday morning. Are you team tank or are you team win? Well, the Cowboys showed up to win today against, by the way, a really bad opponent. And came out strong, looking good. You looked like you should against a really bad opponent, and then the wheels kind of fell off. We're going to unpack all of it. The unexpected hero in the run game, the offense deflating in the second half, the defense bending, and somehow not snapping, and what all of this means heading into Week 18 against the New York Gigantics. So let's get into it. And let's start with the 10,000-foot view, the all-encompassing view. Dallas got the W. You take that. You don't apologize for it. You don't return it. You don't keep the receipt in the bag. It's a win. But the way this game played out, it felt like the Cowboys did kind of what the Cowboys have been doing a lot of lately. You come out hot, like, man, we decided to show up and play the game today. It's almost like it's a decision that they come out hot. But then the second half happened. And suddenly it's like they drank a bunch of sleepy time tea at halftime or something. And you didn't look so great. It's still a win on Christmas. And for a season that's had more frustrations than positive, more frustrations than fireworks this year, you kind of take your joy when you can get it. And that's what we're doing here. Let's start with the most underrated story of the day. I tried to touch on it yesterday morning when I told you guys I needed to see some of these backup guys as we prep for 2026, right? I needed to see some of the depth, how it would play out, see if we've got roster spots we need to fill with some of these guys or instead of some of these guys. And lo and behold, Javonte Williams goes down with a mysterious shoulder injury. By the way, I saw a lot of conspiracy theories about that on social media, on the X machine. Javonte scores a touchdown, takes a shot to the shoulder, and then poof. He's gone like a Christmas spirit with a pulled rotator cuff. And that injury kind of flipped the whole offensive plan for Dallas. I think it turned the offensive plan into what I wanted to see. And that was Malik Davis. And what did Malik Davis do? How did he respond? 20 carries, 103 yards, ripping off chunk plays like he was reminding everybody, hey, I'm still on the team. And he was running with a purpose. He made defenders make business decisions on Christmas Day. And that's what I wanted to see. I love Malik Davis. I've always liked Malik Davis. I just need him to stay healthy. And I would love to see a 1-2 punch of Malik Davis and Javonte Williams, not in that order, but those two guys be crucial parts of the run game next year. And, of course, let's not leave out my guy, Hunter Luepke. 7 carries, 30 yards. Between the two guys, that's 27 carries, 133 yards, almost 4.5 yards a pop, and that matters because it kept the Dallas offense out of panic mode. And that's exactly what I needed to see. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And I know it was against Washington. They're banged up. But it just tells me that is there, that It's a reasonable expectation for these guys to be able to do what they did. And don't forget the Dallas offensive line's banged up too. So they did it not just against a banged up defense. They did it against or through or in spite of a banged up offensive line. So here's the big picture with all of this. This is why you want to hire an offensive coordinator and a staff that can create a run identity. That's exactly what Shoddy has done. Over 210 yards today on the ground. That's grown-ass man football. That's NFC East football. That's what you need on a regular basis. And if you're building a roster for 2026, you love seeing those depth guys jump in and keep the engine running when you're shorthanded. And that's exactly what they did. And I said it yesterday morning as well. I need to see some Brevin Spann-Ford. Now, I didn't want to see it because of an injury to Jake Ferguson, but I wanted to see some Brevin Spann-Ford. Ferguson goes out after the touchdown, calf injury, and you're in next man up territory. That next man up was Brevin Spann-Ford, and he finally gets some real snaps. He played about 48 snaps yesterday, I believe, and I thought that he handled it all very, very well. He had that big catch and run. That's an upside for you. The blocking reps, those are going to keep him on the field, but you know he can be a viable part of the passing game, which is what you need to see because, frankly, Jake Ferguson has not stayed very healthy. And if you're going to keep Ferguson as your main guy, and I think you should, you need to have a guy like Brevin Spann-Ford right behind him that you can insert and not miss too much of a step. It's going to be a little bit of fall off, obviously, but you need it to still be a guy who can keep the offense flowing, where you don't have to drastically change your offense and your game plan from a tight end aspect because Ferguson's out. And I think we saw a lot of that. He's got the tools, and he needs snaps like yesterday. He needs repetitions like yesterday. You can't develop in theory. You got to develop in reps. And I thought that's what he did. Loved what we saw from Brevin Spann-Ford. The other guy that I mentioned yesterday morning, Jalen Tolbert. It was really, really nice to see him finally contributing again. And we haven't seen much of him the last couple of months. But because of the injury to Ryan Flournoy, he gets to step in. He makes a couple of tough conversions on 3rd and 4th down, on pressure plays, and he shows up. And I thought that's everything we needed to see. Now, that doesn't mean all the questions are answered for 2026. And look, I don't know what the 2026 roster is going to look like in the whiteout room, but I'll say this. There's value in a receiver who can come off the shelf and make a play when the game is tight on 4th down, on 3rd and long. And I think today we can be a little more confident than we were yesterday before the game that Jalen Tolbert can help us do that. He helped keep drives alive yesterday, and all of that matters. Now let's talk about the part that's, if you've still got some left, that's going to make your eggnog curdle just a little bit. Dallas had 480 total yards, 28 first downs, a ton of offensive snaps, and 30 points. And still, it kind of felt like the offense was off. I don't know about you guys. I mean, especially in the second half. You scored 24 points in the first half, and then you get 2 long field goals after halftime, and you basically were okay with that. And I'll spread the blame around a little bit. Everyone knows that watches this show and my other shows, I'm one of the biggest Dak supporters. I don't think he had a great day yesterday. He had a good day. I don't think he had a great day. The box score looks great. Over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. You love the box score, but if you watched the game, his accuracy was inconsistent. His timing was off just a little bit. Of course, he had the big 86-yard pass to Turpin. Nice to see Turpin contributing a little bit. I'm still done with him. But that's the goal. You don't apologize for explosive plays. But if you take that play out, his consistency is a bit sketchy. And I didn't like that. And a lot of that yesterday was lack of pass protection. Dallas gave up 6 sacks. Dak took way too many hits for a game that was supposedly in the bag early. yesterday. And there's a lot of blame to go around. The offensive line had issues. You had some non-offensive line protection busts. You had Dak doing his best Shadur Sanders impression and holding onto the ball way too long a couple of times. Injuries obviously forced backups into some key roles in the protection packages. So it is what it is. But I'm harping on this not because I hate Joy. Because Dak getting healthy, out of these games healthy without injury, is the number one priority here. And I kind of think the Cowboys are lucky, as much as he got hit yesterday, that he was able to walk off the field and take a big bite out of that freaking Netflix tomahawk steak. I just thought there was a lot of places he had an opportunity for injury, and I did not like it at all. So that kind of raises the question for Week 18. Joe Milton? Is it Joe Milton time? You just sit Dak, not to risk anything with him. I think we'll find out if that's somewhere in the plans. If you see Dak show up on the injury report Monday with whatever, with a sore knee, sore ankle, sore shoulder, whatever, just some bogus thing to put him on the injury report that could put his game status in question. That'll give us an indication. If we don't see him on the injury report, I'm pretty sure he's going to play Week 18 against the Giants. So we'll give credit where credit is due here. Even with the pass protection mess, the run game was physical. The line was moving people. Tyler Booker even caught a penalty for finishing a block too aggressively. Honestly, I'll take that penalty 10 times out of 10. That's the kind of nasty I need to see, especially out of Tyler Booker. All right, defense. Deep breath here. This might have been one of the more frustrating defensive performances of the year. And there's been a lot of frustrating defensive performances this year. And it wasn't because of the points that were allowed. It was because, for me, for context. You led an offense led by a 39-year-old Josh Johnson behind a beat-up offensive line. Move the ball at times like they were running a 7-on-7 summer camp. It was just ugly. You didn't get any turnovers. You didn't register any sacks. And the Commandos averaged almost 8 yards per play on offense. That's not good. That's too much bend, don't break. That is way too much bending. Because you're just one chunk play away from a touchdown with that kind of performance. And they got lucky a couple of times. Tackling, I thought, was rough all across the board. I talked about him a little bit yesterday morning in the preview. I'm not out on Ravel in the long term, but I think we can clearly see he is not ready physically and technically to be a starter in the NFL. He missed some key development time this year, and the tackling issues that he has will not magically fix themselves in mid-December. He needs more time, and he's taking all the lumps right now. Linebacker play was ugly. Safety play just looked old. And heading into 2026, you look like you need multiple new starters on defense, including at safety, including at linebacker. You probably need more stability at corner. And I thought yesterday was especially frustrating because the guys who flashed were the guys who you expected to flash, and Quinnen Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, the veterans who show up and always show up, but you need more than that. This defense needs a reset. It needs a new coordinator. It needs new youth. It needs a new identity. And that's all got to come this offseason. So what now? Week 18, New York Giants. Dallas sits at 7-8-1 heading into Week 18. They look like they're in full-on tank mode. At least the Giants do. And this one looks like it could be speeding towards an ugly collision. Again, we don't know what Dallas is going to do personnel-wise on offense. Is Dak going to play? Is he not? I don't know. I don't know that it matters. I think the Giants are definitely just trying to lose. They don't care about winning at this point, especially the last game of the season. They're fighting for a draft pick, and that's okay. if you're the Cowboys, no matter who's playing, no matter who's on the field for you, you need to go out and take this one, and you need to do it with authority, because even backups versus backups, you should be a lot better than the New York Giants with who they're going to throw out there. But we will preview that more in full the closer we get to it. But look, enjoy the win. It's Christmas. You don't get these back. Hope you enjoyed your family. If you've got some either horrific Christmas stories or maybe some really good Christmas stories, I would love to hear them. We might share them on a future episode. Just leave them in the comments section here, or you can email me if it's a good one. info@fanstreamsports.com. And like I said, we'll maybe share some of those. And if you don't want me to share it, make sure you tell me not to share it. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that they're all okay to share on the air. But Week 18 should be all about evaluation. Who deserves snaps? Who's part of 2026? Who's just taking up oxygen on the sideline? And we'll find all of that out against the Gigantics of Gotham. All right, Cowboys Nation, Merry Christmas once again. Enjoy your people. Enjoy your food. Enjoy this win. We'll talk draft positioning later. There's plenty of time for that misery. Again, if you're watching live, hit the like, subscribe. Drop one maybe key takeaway in the chat, what that you took from this game, positive or negative. I'd love to see it. Who's your MVP for the day? Was it Malik Davis? Was it Dak? Was it, I couldn't have been Aubrey, right, with the miss. But I'll be back on Monday breaking down the tape, the takeaways, and all of the Week 18 setup for you. This has been the Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz podcast right here on FanStream Sports. And we'll see you on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy your football.